Hello and welcome to the Daily Millwall Sunday, the 1st of May 2022. And as I usually do on the day after a game, I'm going to do a stats video at the end of this video. We've got a couple of stories before that, and we're going to start with this one from newsatden.co.uk. Catch 22 that makes it tougher for Millwall to re-sign Stoke, Sheffield United and Arsenal trio. Millwall boss Rowett would like to re-sign 3 of this season's 5 loanees, but their success means they are set to be in demand this summer. Ben Kafomi scored his 13th goal of the campaign in a 3-0 win over Peterborough United on Saturday, with Oliver Burke also starting and making another positive impact. Daniel Ballard has been a regular in defence but missed the win over the Posh through injury. The other 2 lone players, Shay Yojo and Luke Freeman, have seen their spells with the Lions disrupted by injury. Phobia is on loan from Stoke, Burke from Sheffield United and Ballard from Arsenal. Any player who has played a strong part this season, of course you would like to try and keep them if that opportunity arises, Rowett said after Saturday's win at the Den, which kept the Lions challenging for 6 heading into the final day of the season. But there are so many things that can happen between now and midway through the summer. Teams don't make those decisions. They've had strong finishes, which obviously puts their parent clubs in a good position to get other people wanting to take them. They've been a great part so far. People like Berkey, like Bennett, Dan Ballard, who's that injured. We've got to try and keep good quality players. Which ones they are won't always be down to us, but I think that's our ambition and what we want to try and do. Some people were saying as well, like, it keeps coming up like about trying to get a Phobia on a permanent deal, and everyone's saying like, well, his wage, we can't afford his wages, or he's not worth it. He scored 13 goals, you know. Jed Wallace was injured for most of January. If he would have played, how many would Phobia got? Phobia himself was injured. If he had been fit the whole season, how many goals would he have got? 20. Like, he's getting a lot of wages because he's worth it, and he's going to be worth it for us. So we can't pull these, like, people keep wanting to do it on the cheap and like getting a young player from not non-league or somewhere and bringing them in and getting them to do it. But like, Phobie's proved it. He's come here and he scored goals. He scored goals other places where he's been, and he's come here and scored goals, which isn't always the case. Some players come to Millwall, they can't perform, and then they go off to other places and they're absolutely brilliant. So that is kind of weird, but yeah. And we kind of suspect in terms of squad movement. A couple of weeks ago I told you about Isaac Love. He gave you an interview where they haven't even discussed with him about extending his contract. So are they going to release him? Because he's going to be 24 this year. So he's thrown out of the age restricted bracket under 23, even though he's been loaned out to a league team. The same with Kieftenbeld. They haven't spoken to him about a new contract yet. And we all suspect that Alex Pearce is going to leave. Jed Wallace is probably going to leave as well, most likely. There's a lot of space being cleared into the budget. So where's that going? Is that to try and put a decent offer a Phobie's way and hope that he accepts? Maybe it will not be the same that he's on at Stoke, but maybe it's going to be decent enough to tempt him. I don't know. Is it just to re-sign some other players? Can we afford to sign a Phobia and then sign other players as well? I don't know, but Phobia is a decent player, and that's why he's getting the wages that he's getting. And we're going to move on now to, and I told you way in advance about this. Now this is what you're seeing on your screen is the Twitter feed for England football. And it's, you may notice that picture that's the Den. There was the FA Cup, the FA Sunday Cup final at the Den today, and a team from East London, Baytes squad, who play in the Essex Senior League, I think, and Highgate Albion, who are from the Barnet area, and they play in some league that way. They played, and the result was 2-0 the Baytes squad. Yeah, and apparently I didn't notice, but the game seemed to be live on Twitter. I think this was live at the time, which is kind of weird because you never think of Twitter as being a place where you can watch things live. It's like clipped little videos and things from like crime scenes and whatnot, and like accidents. But yeah, so they streamed the whole game live there. And yeah, it was 2-0 to Beta Squad, which I think if we scroll up, it would say, yeah. So the goal was on the 3rd minute, and there was another goal right at the end of the game. So a goal at the start of the game, goal at the end of the game, and it was 2-0 to the East London team. So we're gonna move on to this. So that there was some blogger or someone there, and he's got some decent pictures. So we're just gonna scroll through them, and I'm gonna mention when it gets to it the crowd, which apparently he says is a decent crowd. A very decent crowd of 1,440 turned up to the Den to cheer their sides on. Brilliant attendance, it has to be said, and they were both hoping that their side could gain the upper hand early on and set the platform for a victory, of course. And 3 minutes in, Betas did just that when they swept ahead. Yeah, so 1,440, that's not bad. Hopefully the game went well, and the FA, whoever the people are running it, they like what they saw. Millwall put on a good show. I don't know how it works, whether a Millwall team are running it or there's just like one guy who's the liaison officer, but the FA people come in and run the show. I don't know how it works. But yeah, it looks like they even had the screen on. Not bad, not bad. And yeah, so like I said, it's got some decent pictures, and we're just gonna scroll through them. Yeah, so there you have it. 1,440 turned up to the FA Sunday Cup final at the Den. Fantastic stuff. Now we are going to move on to the stats from yesterday's game against Peterborough United, and we're going to start off as usual with this. This is from experimental361.com. This is the XG, expected goals, basically chances on goal, over the length of the match time of 90 minutes. And you can see the blue line goes along. Anytime a team has a shot, the blue line goes up. Where it goes up, that's when they had a shot. And the higher it goes up, that is the better the chances. So you can see where George Saville got his header, that jumps right up, because that was a point blank bullet header, more or less on the line. Boom. Like, if he missed it, how could you miss that? Maybe if he headed it down, if it hit his nose and hit the ground instead of going forwards. But yeah, so you can see yet again a flat first half from both teams, it has to be said. A few chances, but not very clear cut. Seems maybe they had like one more shot than us. But then the second half goes out, and if you draw a straight line from the blue line on the 46th minute and the blue line on the 90th minute, and you draw a straight line between the two, that's probably going to be a 45-degree angle, which is absolutely, it's exponential. Like, it just keeps going straight up. So we just went at them and got 3 goals that we needed to get. Shame we couldn't get more, but you can't. How can you score 4 or 5 goals in 45 minutes of football? It's a tall order. That's why you really need to score in the first half, but was not to be. And you can see Peterborough's line pretty much just rumbles along as normal. Around about the 77th minute, they have a couple of decent chances, and then a couple right in the end. But other than that, not much going on for them. So we're going to move on now to infogoal.net. Oh yeah, the XG, they give it as 2 and 1.2. So we overperformed our XG, and Peterborough massively underperformed. And this website here gives it as 2.16 and 1.25. You can see here the match events. Phoebe scores, and then we make a double substitution straight after. They make a double substitution straight after our double substitution. Then they make a change just before we get our second goal, and then we get a third goal, and it's good night Vienna. There you have it. And then Oliver Burke comes off for Tyler Burry, hopefully trying to push on for that last 10 minutes to get another goal, but just wasn't to be. So let's have a look at the XG shot map. Where were these shots? When did they happen? So here you go. There's Peterborough's there, and there's Millwall's there, and yeah, you can see here the best chance we had. George Travel, 46 minutes, just started second half, did not go in. If we go first half, so this is the dire first half. They had the best chance. Yeah, the guy got sent clean through, and he couldn't even hit on target. Quite weird, to be honest with you. Second half, obviously a lot better, and again, we're all getting into the area. Most of our shots are inside that penalty area. Only 2 outside. Pretty decent stuff there from Millwall in that second half. Just clicking through. So here, Peterborough just carried on as they were in the first half, but they didn't have that decent chance that they got before that they probably should have scored. Fairness rating, was that a fair result? Out of 100, 70.48, so that's kind of not really, but what is that based on? I don't know. Probably saying Peterborough probably should have scored a goal, all the chances they had, but they didn't, so that probably tells you why they're getting relegated. So let's move on now to this from whoscored.com. And no surprises there, the top 5 players are Millwall players. There is the match summary and the styles of play. And here we have it. So Mill had 19 attempts to Peterborough's 14. We had 6 to 11 open play, 12 to 3 set piece, and 1 own goal for us, and none for them. So that works out as 19 shots, 3 goals, 15%. 15%, and here we go. 14 shots of Peterborough, 0 goals. Now that is very poor. Normally when we give away 14 shots, we concede at least 1 goal. So that is something to think about. Here we go. We're going down both wings. They were mostly going down the right. There's your shot directions. They were shooting from the right side. Shot zones, 72% inside the 18-yard box for Millwall. Action zones, yeah, most of it was in the middle. Player positions, look at this. So what are Millwall playing here? 3-4-3, 3-4-1-2, 3-2-2-1-2. Very interesting there. So obviously, what was that? Bradshaw dropping deep. Oliver Burke furthest forward on the right flank. With the pace, obviously probably playing on the last man, and you can see corresponds to what Peterborough their 6 and their 2 are forced to drop back because Oliver Burke's pace. So there you have it. Interesting stuff. And what was that? Billy Mitchell and Saville playing deep. Interesting. And the Rowett said in the second half they pushed Ryan Leonard further forward, so it was kind of 2-3-2-5 2-5-1-2, something like that. I don't know. So Ryan Leonard's number 18, I believe. Yeah, so they have that. So let's move on now to the players and what happened on the pitch. So there you have the crowd of 16,705. If you look at the top by the club badges, you can see the average player rating for each team: 7.43 for Millwall, 6.33 for Peterborough. So that is 1.1 of a difference, which is a hell of a lot. That's over 10%. That is a massive difference at its level, to be so much better than the other team. So here we go. Here are the player ratings. So the only one to come out of any credit for Peterborough was Ward, 7.5. Everyone else is pretty much mid sixes or lower. Now for Millwall, George Saville, 9.7. Scored a goal, hit the bar, got an assist. Not a bad day at the office. Wallace come off the bench, got 7.7, 1 assist. And yeah, Phobie 8.1. Pretty decent stuff there. So let's see who did what. So total shots 18-14. And pretty much everyone in the middle. Oh, Bradshaw didn't have a shot. Well, he was playing deeper, wasn't he? So he's a pretty link-up man. Everyone except for Bradshaw, McNamara and Biakowski getting a chance on goal. Possession-wise, even at home, in the big game, they still narrowly had more possession than us, 52-47. But for us, it was Saville on the ball mostly. 5.9% of the match time was with the ball with him, and then Hutchison 5.1, and Wallace with 5. Pass success percentage better for them than for us, 74 to their 78. And again for us, Billy Mitchell 87, McNamara 85, which is how it's steadily been all season. Dribbles 12-15. There you have it. McNamara dribbling forward a lot. 3 times, but that's a lot. Aerials 1. Hey, look at this. Outclassed 35-19. 35-19. Nearly double. Cooper obviously 10. Hutchison 7. I imagine that's because we're doing it at both ends. We're winning the aerials defending, and we're winning the aerials going forward, especially with all the set pieces we had, which I showed you before how many set pieces we had. Tackles 17-17. Interesting. Not a lot of tackling going on with the defenders. I imagine that's probably because they had interceptions and block shots and stuff like that. Corners 8-12, so they had more corners than us. And Saville 3, Wallace 5. Dispossessed 9-11. Interesting. Okay, so let's move on to the player stats, a bit more individual. Hopefully it will load this week. So there you have it, 9.72 for George Saville, 8.1 for Benik Phobie, and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 players with 7 or above. Fantastic stuff. Jed Wallace came on, had about 40 minutes on the pitch, got 7.67. He outperformed the player who subbed in for Ryan Leonard. Mason Bennett nearly got a better score than Tom Bradshaw. Not quite. 6.8 to 6.93. And Tyler Berry again, 6.03 to 6.47. Just missing out on overtaking the player that he was subbed on for. Now, why do I say that? Why am I telling you this? Because when you think about it, Oliver Burke was on the pitch for 81 minutes and he did enough things on the pitch to get a score of 6.47. Tyler Berry comes on with 10 minutes to go and he gets a score of 6.03. So if a player can get a better score than the player that they've been subbed in for while playing less time on the pitch, it's indicative of their performance, how good they are coming off the bench and performing as a substitute. And that generally means that probably the manager made the right call by subbing that player off and bringing the other player on. Because if they got a better score than the player they came on for, obviously that worked. That was a substitution that worked. Yes. So, who had the most touches? George Saville, Murray Wallace. A bit of a drop off to Jake Cooper, Danny McMahon, Sean Hutchinson. Let's go on the offensive. And shots on target. So we had a lot of shots. All of these players had shots. 10 different players for Millwall. Jake Cooper 5. Well, that's obviously mostly with his head, I assume. George Saville 3. And then all of these players with these things. So shots on target though. How many were on target? Only 3. Only 3. So 10 players with shots. Only 3 of them were. 3 players had shots on target. And this is probably why George Saville got man of the match. 3 shots. Second most of the Millwall players. 2 of them were on target. 1 of them was a goal. 1 hit the bar. Damn. Obviously, fired up for that game. Jay Cooper 5 and 1. Benicofobie 2 and 1. And the one that was on target was a goal. Lovely jubbly. Yeah, defensive wise, tackles, Benicofobie with the most tackles for Millwall. Really? Sean Hutchinson, Danny McMahon, Murray Wallace, George Saville, Mason Bennett all with 2. Interceptions. Sean Hutchinson 4, Ryan End with 3, Jack Cooper with 3. Clearances, all of these players with 3. Oh, so that's where they were busy on the clearances rather than the tackles. Hutch, Cooper, McNamara, Wallace. Boom. Blocking the shots. Cooper, Saville, Bradshaw. So Bradshaw there getting involved in that. I imagine that was defending some of the 12 corners that Peterborough had. Passing wise, so who had the most passes for Millwall? George Saville, Hutchinson, Billy Mitchell, Jake Cooper, Murray Wallace, and then drops off. Now we saw before that Billy Mitchell had 86.7 accuracy, and that was off of 45 passes, third most for Millwall. So that is pretty decent. And you got Danny Mountain 85 off of 34. Also pretty good as well. Also pretty good. Now crosses and accurate crosses. Jed Wallace 9 and 5. McNamara 7 and 0. Oh dear, that's not good. That's not good. But here's the thing. What do they mean by accurate cross? If I cross it and it finds a Millwall player, that's accurate. What if I cross it into space in front of a Millwall player for them to run onto? Is that accurate? Because I put it where I wanted to put it, which was in front of Oliver Burke to run onto, because he's fucking fast. But I didn't find him with it. It wasn't an accurate pass to him. It was an accurate pass in front of him. So you don't know how they're counting it. George Saville 5 and 4. Obviously, again, another reason why he's on man of the match. And don't forget, he took some of the corners in the first half before Jed Wallace came on. Is he a viable contender to actually take some of the corners now? Should Jed Wallace take all of the corners? Don't know. George Savile pretty decent at a corner. Then we have Murray Wallace with 3 and 1, Oliver 3 and 0, and Ryan Eder 1-0. Only 6 players getting crosses in. Normally a lot more than that, isn't it? Long balls and accurate long balls. So Bart 15 and 6. So Bart's passing accuracy 60.9. Now that is very good for him. Normally it's around 30 or so, especially with the long goal kicks that he takes. Imagine having 3 up front that helped him out. So 15 and 6 accuracy on the long balls. George Savile again 11 and 6, pretty decent. Sean Hutchinson 10 and 6. Here's the one. Oh, here we go. So Danny McNamara on the long balls, he's actually 6 and 5, which is very, very good. Billy Mitchell as well, 6 and 5. Yeah. Murray Wallace there 5 and 3. So it's not all bad. So yeah, there we have it. That was it. That was the story of the stats from yesterday's game. All eyes are on Fulham now. Why? Because if they beat Luton tomorrow, we're chasing 2 teams instead of 1, and they have to play Sheffield United on the last day of the season while we go to AFC Bournemouth. Interesting times are ahead. This could be one hell of a week. It really could be. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.